Well, hey everyone, here's how we're going to make our comic images. First of all, you got to get a picture. Here's one that I found from the internet. Really fat squirrel. It's pretty cute. And once you're in Photoshop, you've got your picture open in Photoshop, then we're going to start to make your image look like it's from a comic book. Okay, so here we go. Want to hit Command J. That makes a duplicate of your layer and will hide your original picture. Then on the top layer here, I'm going to use my quick select tool and I'm going to get just the squirrel selected. And if you accidentally select too much, remember the Option key takes away from the selection. And then if you let go of the Option key, you can add again. Get a little bit more of the tail here. Okay, so now I have the squirrel selected. Now I need to get rid of the background, so it's just the squirrel. So to do that, I'm going to select and inverse. That selects the background, and then press delete. And deselect. So now I have a layer with just my squirrel. I'm going to make a duplicate of that. So I have two squirrels and the background, which I've hidden. The top layer I'm going to rename Photocopy plus Multiply. These are the two things that I'm going to be doing to the image on this layer. And the Photocopy filter can be found under Sketch and Photocopy. And before you do that, take a look at what you got over here for your colors. Okay, you want to make sure you have black and white. I don't, so if I press black and white, okay, because this will be what my filter refers to for my colors in my Photocopy. So filter, sketch, and Photocopy. And I can adjust the filter so it shows more detail, less detail, and then also how dark it is. When you like it, press OK. My color's gone, but I'm going to get that back here in just a second when I change the mode of the layer to multiply. Right now it says normal. Choose multiply, and what that'll do is it'll take the information from the layer directly below it and make it visible. I can enhance the color on that layer by adjusting its vibrance, which is what I'm renaming it now. You get to the vibrance by Image, Adjustments, and Vibrance. And you can adjust the saturation there and up the vibrance. It can be really, really intense if you want it to, or not so much. This is just up to you. Okay. Now, I got rid of the background, so I'm going to need to give them a new background. So I'll add a new layer and slide that down underneath of the squirrels. Then I can use a couple of tools. I can either use my paint bucket or my gradient, or both, to make a colorful background for them. So use my paint bucket first. Nice blue background. And maybe I'll throw in some gradient too. Maybe I'll take a little bit lighter blue here. And I've got these different patterns I can make into my gradient. Okay, that's kind of neat. Now, I'm going to do one more thing to this layer here. I'm going to rename it Colorful Layer. And I'm going to run another filter on it. This time I'm going to pixelate and color halftone. This might take a little bit of trial and error, so if you don't like the way that this looks, you can undo it, redo it. Okay? So this number here, maximum radius, the smaller this number, the smaller these little dots will appear to be in a second. So I'm going to go with 4, and we'll see what that looks like. Kind of interesting. You can make those larger by pressing Command Z, going back to your filter, pixelate, color halftone, and then increasing this number. So maybe I'll go for 8 this time. You can see those dots are much larger. Okay, looks good. Now, I'm going to need to give my character something to say. So I'm going to click up here on the top and go to my text tool. You want to choose a font that looks kind of like a comic book style font. I've got one that I downloaded named Comic Book. You can try Comic Sans. There's Apple Casual that looks kind of like a handwritten font. But like I said, I'm going to go with the Comic Book font that I downloaded. And we want black text. Okay, everything else looks good. So I'll click where I want to start adding my text. It looks like that's really huge, so I'm going to make my text a bit smaller. And put on my caps locks, and I'll give my character something to say. You can see that's really large still. So I'm going to shrink that down even more here. See how low I can go. Too small. Okay, so there's his text. Now it's really hard to read. I'm going to need to give him a speech bubble, something that'll be underneath my text, and I can direct it so it looks like he's saying it. So I'm going to add another layer and slide it underneath my text, and I'll name this layer Bubble. So I'm going to put the speech bubble on there. Okay. To draw my speech bubble, I'm going to use the marquee tool. I've got an elliptical one or a rectangular one right underneath the move tool. I'm going to use the elliptical, and you're going to click and drag and draw a shape around your text. You can move it up just a little bit, so if it's small, make it a little bit bigger, and then you can move it up. Okay. Then I'm going to want to make a directional mark, so it looks like my squirrel's actually speaking. So I use the polygon lasso. I'll press and hold Shift. Click. Click once more by my squirrel's mouth. And then double click back inside my marquee. That's on this little spiky triangular section. Almost done here. I'm going to need to fill my selection. We've done this before in the mural project. So go to Edit and Fill. Make sure that the mode now is at normal and white for your color. And I'm going to do one more thing to give it a little bit more of a comic book style. I'm going to outline the bubble too. To do that, I go to Edit and Stroke. You can specify a color and a width for your stroke, for your outline. I'm just going to go with 1 pixel. You could also make it go to the inside or the outside of your ants, or just center it right on top of the ants. And if I press Command D, I can really see that outline. Now, some other optional things that you can do. Notice that my bubble has the outline, but my squirrel doesn't. If I wanted them both to have an outline, I could go to the vibrance layer of the squirrel, double click. That opens up the layer styles. We've used those before on the text projects. And one of the options there is a stroke. So I could give the squirrel a little bit of an outline too. I think I'll do that. Again, that's optional, but it's just something that you can add to your picture if you want. Okay, when it's all done, I'm going to save it. Block number, last name, and then comic 1, 2, or 3, well, whichever one you're working on. And save it into your pictures. Make sure you make a folder for that in just a bit that you can put all of your comics together into one folder. And that's that.